So in this video, we are going to discuss about this Elasticsearch operators and how to install the ELK stack using the Elastic operator. So basically, in the Kubernetes, as you know, the Kubernetes operator, basically the extension of the Kubernetes API. So basically, it is used to manage some of the applications instead of performing the manually work like deploying or upgrading. So we can manage that application using the Kubernetes operator. So here we are using elastic operators which is provided by the Elasticsearch operator, that is the name is ECK. So we are going to install this ELK stack that is useful for the logging, that is Elastic and Logstash and the Kibana. So we are going to install using ECK operator. So I think already you know about this cluster logging. So basically the cluster logging, I have some, let me, yeah. So we are going to implement this cluster logging using the ELK stack, that is Elastic and Logstack and the Kibana. So basically the flow is like that. So as the containers are running, so you can collect the logs from the container using the Logstash, and then the Logstash will forward the log to Elasticsearch, and then we can visualize this log using the Kibana UI. Okay, so there is some another layer might be here after the log. So that is bits. You can use the bits. Okay, bits act as a log collector. So basically, read the log file and collect the log and ship the log to your Logstash. Okay, so Logstash basically used for filtering and parsing the log. Basically, it will transforming your logs to different format. Okay, so the flow is like first, like the flow is like this. Your log is there, then the bits, there are different type of bits are available like file bits, matrix bit and heartbeat. Okay, many bits are available. So their purpose is like different. They are collecting the logs or different metrics, or the heartbeat basically collect your instance status, like instance up or down like that. Okay, but we are going to implement only here the file bits, like file bits. So file bits basically collect the logs from your log file. So we can add another layer, that is logs, then file bits. Then file bits act as a log collector and send it to the Logstash for the data processing. Okay, like you can transform your log to different format. Then after that you can send the log to Elasticsearch. So in this case, like the file bit can directly send the log to Elasticsearch, but we can add this layer so that we can manipulate your logs file. Like you can create data pipeline, or we can transform your log before sending to log store, that is the Elasticsearch. And once the log are stored in the Elasticsearch, then we can visualize your log using like some of the tool like called Kibana. So Kibana is a UI based tool, or you can access it from the your browser, so that you can visualize all the log what stored in the Elasticsearch. So directly we can jump to demo. So these are the basic concept of logging stack. Then first, as we are going to install using operator instead of doing the manual work. So let me, before that, 1 second, let me show you. We are using this travel channel and the version is T3.0. This is the latest version of the ECK stack operator, and your minimum requirement like 1.28 more. I mean greater than 1.28 Kubernetes version. Okay, yeah. So let me apply this one. So before that, let me show you. Yeah, if you go to this document, the YAML manifest file, you can implement, I mean, install using different format like YAML or your Helm, but I prefer the YAML. So you can see here, we can how to install this CR. Basically two things we need to install. One is CRD, another is operator. Okay, so if you install using this YAML file, then it will create one operator for you. Okay, so let me go ahead to install this one. So I have one clusters available. Let me show you my cluster information. It is single node cluster and the current version is 1.32. Okay, so let me go ahead to install this operators, and before that you can check the namespace. That is not, I don't have any namespace related to logging. Okay, let me copy this CRD and operator YAML file and apply there. It will create a lot of namespace and some of the CRDs. Now you can see the namespace. You can see one namespace is created just now. That is Elastic System. Basically, all the operators are deployed in that namespace. Let me check that namespace. Your namespace name, get pod. So now we can see one pod is already started just recently, and the pod is in ready and running state. Okay, so if you want to check the logs, you can check the logs from this pod. Okay, so let me go ahead for the deployment. So I want to deploy this all the manifest. I mean my ELK stack in the logging namespace. So that's why I'm going to create one namespace. Let me clear the screen, and I'm going to create one namespace. So in this namespace, I'm going to deploy all my ELK stack pods. Okay, so I have manifest files available, and you can check from the site. You can see here in this site there is some sample or each of the components sample YAML file is there. For the Elasticsearch, they have the sample files. Okay, so if you go through this sample file, you have some idea here they mentioned the kind is Elasticsearch. Until unless you install that operator, you cannot get this kind. Okay, this kind basically available once you install the operator. Okay, you can see once you I mean hit the get CRD, then you can see like lot of CRDs are available. I mean they installed by this ECK operators. Okay, so one of the CRDs like this Elasticsearch. So that's why we are able to create this YAML file, that is kind equal to Elasticsearch. Okay, so because of this. Okay, so you can copy this YAML file here, the sample YAML file. You can see here simple this, due to this operator only this YAML file size is reduced. Okay, so we no need to mention lot of details. So overall we can mention these are my requirement, and automatically this YAML will deploy all the internal things. Okay, so let me go ahead. I already created this YAML file and stored in my local. You can check here. Let me clear the screen, and yeah, so first thing is that we need to install this Elasticsearch. Okay, so let me open this file and give you overview. Yeah, so here you can see I copied from there only, so you can copy from there. Here the first thing is that the kind. Okay, so I'm going to install the Elasticsearch, so that's why the kind is Elasticsearch. And after that I can name this deployment as a Elasticsearch, or whatever you want. You can put this name, but this name is fixed one. Okay, you cannot change this kind, E capital. Okay, this name is different. I mean metadata name is any name. Then I picked this version. I think the current version is 3.0.3 or something, but I picked the recent one also. Okay, then after that, the Yeah, so by default, if you copy that YAML file, it will take the count was three. Okay, three number of Elasticsearch instance will be deployed. Okay, but if you are in doing this in your lab environment, so one instance is enough. Okay, but if you are doing this in I mean the production environment or something, then you can go with the default one, that is count equal to three. Okay, so then after that you can mention this one, that is Elasticsearch is act as a log store. Okay, so somewhere in it need to store the log. So for that log storage, I need some of the persistent volume. So for that, I defined this one. You can see the volume claim template is there, and this name is fixed one. You cannot change this name. Okay, Elasticsearch data, that is the PVC name. And after that, whatever requirement you have in this in this lab environment, it's 3 GB. Okay, but you can go with 10 GB or like that. Okay, I have requirement like 3 GB for test purpose, and the storage class is important here. Okay, so it act as a dynamic storage. So whatever, before that we need to create this storage class. Okay, and make it default or something. It's not important, but we need one of the storage class. Okay, so here I used this. I think Longhorn storage or something. So I think I covered in some of the other video. You can it is a basically local path storage. Okay, so I put all these things. Let me go ahead to install this Elasticsearch instance. Okay, so this is our first component. In the diagram, you can see we are going to deploy this Elasticsearch. This is the log store, so that's why I'm going to deploy first component as Elasticsearch. So I am going to install it my namespace, that is the logging namespace. Okay, get namespace logging. You can see this namespace I'm going to install. So how to apply this one? K-n your namespace name, then apply -f your manifest file. Okay, so let me hit enter. Now it's getting created, so we can check the status. Get pod. Okay, now it is an init state, and you know I already provisioned one persistent volume from my local storage. You can see the local storage. I already created this local storage using rancher. Okay, that is the local path. From there itself it is taking, I'm creating the persistent volume. Okay, if you check the persistent volume status PVC, but PVC is specific to that namespace only. Okay, it's not global. So you can check here, one persistent volume is provisioned. Like as I mentioned, the name should be Elasticsearch data and something is padded. Okay, so after that, now you can see important thing is the bound. It is bounded. Okay, the size is 3 GB. Now it is used by your pod. This is the Elasticsearch pod used by, I mean, it is using this PVC to store the logs. Okay, so now we can check the pod status, whether it is, yeah. Now we can see it is now it's in running state. You can check all the details of that log. So now we can go ahead for the second component installation. Let me check. Yeah, we can install the Kibana after that. Yeah, let me open this file. The Kibana file is very simple file. Basically, it is used for the visualize the log from the Elasticsearch. Okay, so here you can see I'm picking all the component having same version. Otherwise, you are facing some issue. Okay, so I took the Elasticsearch also 9.0.0. Kibana also same version. Okay, so they are compatible with each other. Okay, so whatever name you can give, the kind is like Kibana. This is fixed one, you cannot change that one because these are available once you install the operator. Okay, so then after that the metadata name is whatever name you can give, either Kibana sample or Kibana sample, it's fine. And the version is 9.0. And here the important thing is that Elasticsearch reference. Okay, So like just before we have created the Elasticsearch pod having the name Elasticsearch. Okay, same name you can put it here. That is Elasticsearch. If you put there like Elasticsearch sample, then here you need to put the Elasticsearch sample. Okay, so this YAML file is very simple file because of this operator only. Otherwise, the length of this YAML file should be very big. Okay, the operator itself manage internally all these things. Now we can see one additional line I have added. I want to expose this Kibana service as load balancer. Okay, I have the metal LB load balancer is installed here. Okay, so instead of cluster IP, because cluster IP you cannot access from outside of your cluster. Okay, so in this case my VM is running inside my virtual box, so that I want to access this Kibana UI from my host machine. Okay, that is window machine. So that's why I exposed this as load balancer. So let me save this file and apply this file. Same like Elasticsearch, here you need to change it to Kibana. The same namespace like logging. Now we can check the pod status. Pod is in running state. I think all are managed by this deployment. You can see one deployment is getting created. Okay, this deployment will create this respective pod. Okay, so the deployment I think not ready 0 by 1. Once it is 1 by 1, then it is ready. We can wait for that one. It will take some time to bring up the pod. Once the Kibana deployment is ready, then the pod should be in ready status. I mean running status. Okay, so after that, let me deploy other components. Okay, so here I'm going to use this Filebeat. Okay, Filebeat this YAML file. Also, I want to use this heartbeat also. Like you, I want to check the instance status also. But this Filebeat is important, which collect the logs. Okay, from each of your container pods, it is collecting the log. And finally, once all the deployment is completed, then I'm going to deploy one sample application to generate some logs, and this logs should be visualized in the Kibana at the end of the demo. Okay, so first that I want to deploy this Logstash, the data processing I mean engine. So let me check the pod status again. Now we can see the Kibana pod is in ready status, 1 by 1, and is in running status. You can check the deployment also. The deployment also right now up and running and ready status. So let me apply one more file, that is Logstash. Then after that Filebit we need to install. Let me first install the Logstash. All these files you can take this sample from here, this Kibana sample, Logstash sample. You can see the Logstash very few lines. Because of this operator only the size is reduced. YAML file. Otherwise it is very huge file. So let me I open this file so you can take a look. Not the bit file, it is Logstash file. Okay. You can you can see one thing. The version is just remains same. Okay. I can change this name like whatever I want. Logstash. Then I apply this Logstash also. Now the Logstash basically also for the data processing they also need some persistent volume, but the size is like 1.5 GB or something, not much. Okay, so let me check the pod status also. We no need to mention any PVC there. Automatically it is provisioned. Now we can see the Logstash pod is in running state, but it's not ready. Okay, so we can wait for the Logstash to be ready. Get deployment, and you can check the PVC also. You can see the Elasticsearch PVC is also provisioned. Now the Logstash PVC also bounded. Okay, it's almost 1.5 GB or something. Okay. Now it's unbounded. The PVC, all the PVC should be bounded state. Otherwise, you might be some issue with your local storage. That is the storage class. So you need to fix that one first before we deploy this YAML file. Now we can check the pod status. All pods are ready. Elastic component ready. Kibana ready, and the Logstash also ready. So now we can go ahead to install our other components. Like the major component is this one, the bits. Okay, here I am going to install two different bits, like Filebeat, that is to collect the logs, and another additional bit like the heartbeat. So basically, the heartbeat will check the instance status. Okay, so this is the additional thing we are going to install. So let me open this file. Here bits. This is the heartbeat. Okay, I rename it as bits. Simple. You can see here the kind is bit, and yeah, one more important thing is that the type here is heartbeat. Okay, so when we are going to deploy different type of bits using this operator. Okay, so that time we need to mention either it is heartbeat component or file bit or matrix bit or whatever bits, different type of bits you can mention here. Okay, so in this demo, I am going to implement this heartbeat using this operator, that is bit operator. So bit is the component of the logging operator. It's not an operator. This is a component. So I am picking the same version 9.0, and important thing is that Elasticsearch reference, because the bit is sending the logs to Elasticsearch component. Okay, that's why this component also important. And you know, like in the Kibana ML file also we mentioned this component, because Kibana is fetching the logs from, I mean, read the logs from the Elasticsearch, and Beat is sending the logs to Elasticsearch. Okay, so this is the difference, and the reference remains same. That is, whatever component you defined in the Elasticsearch deployment, same component. And one more important thing is that this is the config map. So this one is important. Okay, that one is the Elasticsearch reference name, but this is the Elasticsearch host name. So the Elasticsearch host name is like different format. I will tell you. You can change according to your environment. The first one is the Elasticsearch, that is the whatever name given for the Elasticsearch deployment. Then this the hyphen, then ES is the compulsory one, and HTTP is the compulsory one. Then this one is your namespace name. Since I'm going to deploy all these things on the login namespace, so that's why the namespace is login and they remain same like service, and the default port is 9200, and the replica is 1, and the security context they are like a privileged one, that is the 0 root user. Okay, so let me deploy this one, this heartbeat. The command remains same on the same namespace, that is logging. This one is deployed. Hopefully, after a few minutes, the pod should be in running status. This is for heartbeat deployment, and after that, I'm going to install the file bit, basically, which collect the log. Okay, so let me open this file bit. Okay, so here I'm picking like the general YAML file instead of operator one. Okay, I think later I will take a sample of the operator one and implement using the operator one. Okay, so this is the sample YAML file like earlier one. So you can see we define the service account and cluster role and cluster role binding. Okay, this is the important thing because the file bit is collecting the logs from all pods. Okay, so that's why they need some privilege account. Okay, so that's why all these things like we provisioned, create one cluster role and role, we bind that role to the service account. All these things mentioned here. And one more important thing is that we have the configuration file filebit.yaml file in the data section, and here few important things you need to add. Go to this section, output.elasticsearch. You need to change this one. Here you need to mention remove all these things because by default it's not mentioned. You need to put this one elastic whatever I mentioned just before in the bit section. The same thing you can mention, but it is in different format. HTTPS, always take HTTPS. Okay, not the HTTP. If you put HTTP it will not work. Okay, because it is using secure shell, I mean SSL. So then the name remains same like 9200. Then username is elastic, and the password you can pick from. Let me check how to get this password. I think I have one command. Yeah, you can pick the password using this command. I will tell you. Before that, let me apply this one. You can see the password. The password basically stored in your secret, which is available inside the same namespace that login. The secret name is Elastic User. You can see the secret name is this one, and I fetched the data dot elastic, that is the username. Elastic is the username, and decoded is the base 64 decoded. Okay, so after that you can see this file, I mean this password is fetched. So you can keep this password. I keep this password. So whenever you want to log into the Elastic, I mean Kibana, that time this password you need to enter. Okay. So let me fetch try to access this Kibana UI because we already deployed, but our logs are not sending there. Okay, because we did not apply this file width. So but we can access the Kibana right now. So you can see one difference here. If you check the get service, you can see one important thing. Kibana service is getting one IP address. That is the external IP address. Because when you deploy the Kibana, that time we mentioned the service type is load balancer. So I have already one internal load balancer is running in cloud environment. You can get the load balancer automatically. Here we implement the that is metal LB. So now you can, if you want to access your Kibana, let me show you how to access this Kibana. You can pick this IP and go to your browser, HTTP, then 5601. This is the default port of Kibana. I think it is HTTPS, not HTTP, the secure one. Yeah, now it asks for the security checks. Yes, because it is using self-signed certificate, so that's why I accept the security. Yes, so you can put your username like Elastic is the default username, and the password is this one because we got the password from this command. You can place this password there. Login. You can update password, no issue. Now you can see your Kibana dashboard. All the components are showing like Elasticsearch, observability, security, like lot of components are there. Let me check my observability tab. Okay, Yeah, so now I can see the observability. There is no logs are available. I think only monitoring things is available. We deployed, I think, some of the heartbeat components. So that side is showing. Okay, all are okay. There is no down zero up one. What is up? Let me see. This component, yeah, you can see one component is off, like Elasticsearch, yes, HTTP, whatever the address of the Elasticsearch instance, you can see it is off. Okay, if it is down, it will show down count one. So now we can see and click on this three dot. If you click on the Elasticsearch overview, you can see from where I got this component. I mean Elasticsearch endpoint. You can see here the Elasticsearch endpoint is like HTTPS, whatever I mentioned here, all this thing are mentioned also here. Okay, so I picked the endpoint from here. Okay, so let me go ahead, and one more thing you can see, if you go to the log observability and the log section, there is no log is collected here. Okay, because we did not install any log collector there. So I am going to install one log collector, so that is Filebeat, which basically collect the log from your entire cluster, I mean all the pods. So open let me open this file. I need to modify a few things. Second. Yeah, come to this section, output.elasticsearch. Here I mentioned the your Elasticsearch host name, that is I picked from there. I already mentioned this one, this overview. This endpoint name should be same. And one more thing, that the username is elastic and the password is taken from here, this command. Okay, and I already copied this password. I need to paste the password at here. I will change this one. I changed this password. So after that, one more important thing is that this line. Okay. So since we access the Elasticsearch using HTTPS, so it need the certificate. Okay. So instead of, and as it is lab environment, instead of I'm trying to bypass this certificate, so that's why I added this line SSL verification mode false, that is none. Okay, so that it will not ask for the SSL certificate verification. Then I already told this file bit basically collect the logs, so that's why it should be deployed as daemon set throughout your cluster nodes. Like if you are using 5 node cluster, so in all nodes the file bit should be running as a pod. Okay, so to make sure how the pods should be running in all nodes, so we use this daemon set. That's why we define the daemon set. So you can see the same image I'm using, like 9.0, otherwise it will not compatible. And here you have another section, is that this section we need to change the same. The host name we need to put the same name, whatever we mentioned there, and the port number is 9200, and the Elasticsearch username. And here we need to change this one. I think somewhere I make mistake. One second. Let me change this one. Yeah, this section done password, and this one also you need to change the same password. Okay, so this file is edited. Now we can go ahead to apply this file. The apply hyphen an f file with hyphen Kibana. Let's see. Now you can see a lot of components are installed like cluster role, role binding, whatever defines there, and the service account because it need the privilege to collect the log from entire cluster. So that's why we need to give this permission to Filebeat. Okay. So hopefully it will be created very soon. This pods. Let me check. Yeah. Now you can see the heartbeat pod is already created before, and now the Filebeat pod is created. Okay. So if you want to check the log of the Filebeat pod status, the Filebeat logs. Let me check this one. Logs. You can put more. If you're getting sometimes error, might be all the errors should be tracked at here. Okay. Sometimes it is not able to connect to your Elasticsearch due to that username and password. So that the time you are facing some error, you can uh, debug those deployment from this log file. Okay, all looks good. You can see all looks good here. Okay, it is able to send the logs to the respective Elasticsearch through bits. Logstash. You can use the q command to remove. Exit from there. Now I think we expect the logs should be generated there. Let me open that UI. Go to logs section, observability, logs. Now you can see earlier that there is no logs is available. Okay, now you can see all logs having a lot of available fields are there. You can filter all these fields. Okay, if you want to check by host IP or host name or pod IP, like there is a lot of parameters are available. 98 parameters are there. You can filter and the timestamp is there. So today is the 30, so that's why it's showing 30. And this summary you can see, if you click on this one it will show you details. Here you can see there is a lot of details are available. It is deployed to login namespace and your host name also there. My host name this one Linux 25 VM1, and you can see a lot of messages are there. Okay, so let me go ahead to deploy the one last thing, that is going to deploy one sample pod v vi test. So this is my sample pod. Okay, so I'm going to generate some log using the busybox sample image. The message name is like test app. Okay, and when some counter is there like I is initialized to 0, then I is incremented to today's date. Okay, so I'll find this log using test app dollar I. Okay, test app 1, test app 2, like that. Okay, so let me deploy this pod to some namespace, that is dev namespace. Okay, get namespace dev. Okay, hyphen n dev get pod. You can see some other pods are there, but I'm going to deploy my test pod in dev namespace. Okay, so let me apply this one. Going to deploy to dev namespace. Apply hyphen f. K hyphen n dev. Apply hyphen f. Then your test application. It should be deployed in any namespace. You can pick any namespace. Let me check the pod status. Now it's container creating. Once the pod is ready, then the message should be generated at there. Okay. Now it's a running state. We can check the message. Whatever message is generated from here, those messages should be reflected at Kibana UI. So let me check the pod logs. Logs. Now we can see immediately it started the generating the message like test of 01 like that, some counter is there. Now till now it is generated like a test of 23. So it will take some time to get the logs in the Kibana UI because it will sending the logs from using the Filebeat to your Elasticsearch. Okay, from Elasticsearch the Kibana is fetching the data. Okay, so hopefully after 1 minute or something, the logs should be collected. So let me pick some older log that is the generated just before test 3, test of 3. You can go here, there is, you can filter here also. Okay, go to filter, here you can directly search. Let me see if it is not coming, then you can search the some messages there. Okay, some, yeah, search by this, you can filter this type message field. Okay, okay, now it is coming. I have selected this message field and there, let me search this test of, I think it's not coming. Yeah, I think it will take some delay, like 1 minute or 2 minutes, because the log is just now generated. So the file bit takes some time, like 1 minute to collect the log. So that's why it's delay. So now we can see. Let me see. I think it is generated. I mean collected 135 test of 135. Let me check that one. What is the current status there? Let me check the recent log. Yeah. So you can see the recent log is 167. Okay. They are generated just now. So till 135 it is collected. You can refresh this one. Now you can see 175 also collected. If you want to check the details, you can see the here all the details you can get from here. The container, your Kubernetes pod name is desktop. It is deployed is in dev namespace. Okay, all the things are coming at here. Your message, everything. Okay, if you have time, you can go through all these things. Okay, okay. So this is over basically about your all the deployment of the logging stack. Whatever component we have deployed, all the pods should be in running state. I will show you. The namespace is logging. Yeah, so all this component like Elasticsearch, first we deployed, this is a basic overview, like first we deployed Elasticsearch component, this one, then we deployed the Kibana component, and after that additional, I mean the Logstash also we deployed, then the additional collector like the heartbeat also we deployed, and finally the file bit. Okay, the file bit is the important component would collect the log. All components should be in running state. And one more important thing I can show you, free hyphen h, you can see almost it is taking more than 5 GB of memory. Okay, so first thing is that you need to provision at least 8 GB memory to this virtual machine, otherwise it will not run. Okay, and in the ls cpu at least 3 CPU is required. Otherwise, some of the pod gets stuck and not able to run. Okay, so if you want to spend time for the debugging instead of debugging, so better you can, I mean, provision at least 3 CPU, and memory is around like 8 GB of memory. Okay, based on your workload. So this is all about your cluster logging components and how we installed all this component. And the if you want to clean up these things, and after few times you decided I'm not using this one, then you can clean up using this command. K-n logging delete -f first Filebeat, then Logstash, then whatever bit Kibana Elasticsearch. Okay. So after that you need to deinstall all the operators. Then after that you can check the PV status. Uh, yeah, so this PVC is automatically deleted. The first PVC Elasticsearch, but the second one is not automatically deleted. That's Logstash. So you need to delete using this command. Delete PVC, your PVC name, whatever PVC name that is this one the PVC name. You can delete this one. After that, all this thing will be cleaned. Okay, so this is all about your cluster logging using SCK operator. Thank you.